Superheroes of T-Town, we have united you all here today to further explore Tulsa.
Wow, you must have read a lot of comic books as a kid, didn't you?
You better believe it. And one of the best places right here in T-Town is to go for more of that action, Wizards Asylum.
I collected when I was pretty young, just pick them up at, just flea markets or whatever, just for fun, just to read, Hulk was one of my favorites back then, Daredevil. But I didn't do anything serious, just, picked them up here and there. I got in high school my freshman year, and I met a buddy, and he was big into the comics. I mean, he had tons and knew everything about them. Well, we were both kind of jocks in school. We played football and stuff, and he was always, anytime I'd bring up the comic books at school, he's like, shh, you don't want to let anybody know that you read, comics, So, thank goodness it's a lot cooler now than it was back then. But yeah, so he got me really collecting, X-Men and doing it more serious. And then as, I went through high school, anytime I'd find a garage sale or anything, I'd buy the comics, whatever I could find, 50 cents a quarter, just kept stockpiling them. I went to a store in Bartlesville all the time to get my regular comics, once I started getting on buying new stuff on a regular basis. Started out just because I wanted to find a cheaper way to buy my own comics. So I found a company that sold them online cheaper. And then I did that out of my house for 6 months or so, just tried to find, I found one customer basically that bought stuff from me. He ended up being my first customer when I opened the store, and my first employee. And it started out real small, basically a 100 square foot spot. I'd moved down to Muskogee from Kansas. My mom lived down there, and I just got out of college, went to college at K-State, and went down there, and I borrowed a gun from my mom's boyfriend and took it and pawned it without him knowing to get the money. I got $150, and I went and rented a $50, cost me $50 a month for rent, and so I had $100 to work with, and went from there. I put my comics out for sale in there, and got the money back, the gun out of pawn, and put it away. He never knew anything about it. Over the years, I started off with sports cards and comics, and over the years I added some role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons, and board games. And then Magic came out in '93, and that really took off. That's when I got into just as soon as it came out. And it spread pretty quick because back then I wasn't real busy, so I had a lot of time to people would come in and we'd just be playing all day, and so the tables, we have a lot of tournaments and stuff, and Magic's gotten really, really big. The Avengers was awesome. It's one of my favorites. Probably the one that impacted the comics the most was the original Batman movie. It picked things up a lot for the comics, and now every time a movie comes out, I see a little bit, but not as much. Watchmen did really good. Watchmen brought a lot of people in because they had a treat, the graphic novel that was so good. So it probably did the most recently. A lot of it's different things. It's who did the art, who appeared, like first appearances. And one of my comics that I had for a long time was the first appearance of Wolverine. It is one that I bought a long time ago and kept for a long time. It's just that's the main part of it. First, for Spider-Man's, first Wolverine. Early appearances of the characters is what really makes them collectible.